All right, very pleasant. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to a Tuesday edition of the Defo Show. We got young Luca Panici Lubitz being attended to. Mike Lubie Lubitz, of course, doing a great job. I don't know how you've been handling this, Mike Lubie Lubitz, but you're handling it like a champ. And every time you do any kind of showing, a show of face of one Luca Panici, I think everybody is amazed at how good looking this kid is. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
My son looks great at 43, and I still remember when he was a baby. I've told the story many times about how I was covered in baby vomit when I was getting my first big shot on national radio. I was so excited to go on the air with the great Win Elliott, who was one of my broadcasting idols when I was a kid growing up. Did the New York Ranger games, and he was great. I don't know, understated the amount of respect that the great Win Elliott has been ascribed over the many, many years. You never hear his name mentioned, do you? Never. I'm not sure what his origins were. I don't know if he. I don't want to think he. I don't think he was a New Yorker, but was with the Rangers for I want to say a long time. Did radio and TV. It was great. Marv Albert, of course, did radio Ranger games, but. Win Elliott, was he exclusive to TV? Maybe we have Andy might remember this, although he might have been too young to even remember the great Win Elliott. And Win Elliott was doing this CBS radio Saturday morning roundup kind of show, and they went all around the country. And I finally got a chance. I was the station I was on, which oddly enough was the station I ended up at, and finishing off about 40-something years in local radio.
Oh, yeah.
I started at 940 WINZ. It was an all-news station. I was doing an afternoon sportscast. They gave you 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Let me imagine that, 3 minutes to do the sportscast.
Oh, my God. That's like a segment.
Yeah, you could do like an interview in there and still give all the scores and the whole thing. Of course, the scores were less relevant in the afternoon than they would be in the morning when my buddy Ron Harrison was manning the microphone. And Ron was... I would have to say what he was proud as present in the lineup as Joel Embiid. It was an inevitable, and I liked it because I was getting extra money, and I wasn't making a whole lot of money in the original deal that I had there with WINZ. And so I always looked forward to getting that call at 4 in the morning when someone would call and say, "Hey, Ron can't make it today." Like, what a surprise, because unfortunately, I don't know. Is that something that was more common back in the day in this industry where people had a major drinking problem? And rest in peace. I love the guy. He was a fantastic guy to me, and it was a great way to get oriented towards being in South Florida. But what do you think? I mean, newspaper guys were notorious for
like a bigger deal, yeah, because people would just have liquor around the office, and even when I was in radio, that wasn't a thing. Like people weren't like drinking in the office was not like when you would go and do shows on site. It was almost expected you'd have a little something you weren't you weren't supposed to get annihilated. No. In the office, I know that you had some interesting stories. I had fun at the building, but it was not like
cocaine was popular back then.
It wasn't like the 80s, and it definitely wasn't like when you see TV shows of like the good old days of a newsroom / radio studio / TV studio in the 70s and the 60s when it like, come on, sit down, and they would just automatically pour a drink at 9:30 in the morning like that.
How do you feel about guys? Did you run into this? Because it may have been, already passé, where a guy just carried a flask.
Yeah, I never saw that.
Always offered you like a hit first of whatever it was that he had in the flask. It was always some kind of hard liquor, usually a brown hard liquor, whiskey of some sort. Hey, you want a belt before we go into this meeting? You're like, what? I don't do this kind of stuff.
I've never.
I was not a heavy liquor drinker back at that time. Although, you know what? When you were doing a little bit of that pure blow that they had in Miami, you'd eventually just take the bottle and be guzzling out of the bottle. How did I survive that, Lubie? I mean, here I am today, zeroing in on 75. I'm amazed I'm still here. It's just incredible. But yeah, it was always an interesting time back then, and people were different, yeah, really very very enjoyable. But yeah, people that they carried a flask, and wasn't uncommon for guys to be blasted at all times. I'm glad that kind of dissipated over time.
Yes, in my area, yes, I saw some interesting things. I did some interesting things inside the building. Alcohol was not as wide. Like once in a while, they'd have like little things where there'd be a champagne for a toast or something like that, or beers because there was like an event. but it was it wasn't just like, hey, and then like the PD just handing over the flask. Come on.
Oh, the
Like,
PD.
no.
Well, the PD. I don't think I ever did coke with the PD, but I did see the general manager having some kind of relation with his very lovely secretary, a girl named Kathy, who had visions of maybe being with her, and then I realized I was competing with the boss, and I stopped. I stopped making those advances when I found them in the bathroom one day in the men's room at the station, both doing blow. I was almost like Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Could have been in there, but those were the days, Louis. Those were the days. How we ever survived it. Anyway, a lot to get to here on the program. As we have this debate a lot. I don't know. Were you familiar with the great singer Robert Goulet?
Yes, you've talked about him too.
See around, yeah. Well, Goulet was famous. Sadly, you're always remembered for your most infamous incident. And Goulet was probably, I mean, this was a strikingly handsome Canadian singer, jet black hair. One of these guys that you looked at as a young man and said, man, it must be great to look like that and go through life. And he had this huge baritone voice that it was exhibited quite frequently. I think he was a big time guest on the Ed Sullivan Show. Most known, however, for blowing the national anthem when he sang the national anthem in the Ali Frazier rematch, not the Thrill in Manila and not the first fight at Madison Square Garden, but they had the second fight in Lewiston, Maine, because for some reason they couldn't find anybody that wanted to be the home for the fight. I guess Ali had changed his name, and there was a lot of controversy going on. I don't remember all of the exact details about how they ended up in Lewiston. They couldn't get anybody to go ahead and sanction this thing. So, and Goulet sang the national anthem at that fight, and he completely choked. But had a great voice, and one of his big hit songs. Fortunately, I don't think he ever made a Robert Merrill-like recording of the national anthem. But it was appropriate because, and we've talked about this a zillion times on the show, but I think today it's worth addressing again. His big hit song was, If Ever I Could Leave You, How Could It Be in Springtime? And here we are, Lubie, springtime, and sparking the great debate because today a lot of stuff is happening. We barely touched on at the close of yesterday's show, which was a little bit confusing, I know, to the people out there because of the incident with Skippy, who then had a subsequent seizure yesterday afternoon. He's okay today, though. He's walking around. He seems to be okay.
No, I mean, you can write it out for look, as long as he's eating and has interest to handle himself.
Eating like a champ, up and down the stairs.
My dog stopped doing that when she was 14. It was like, okay, like the family dog. Well, thank God.
Yeah.
But, like, you had to help her go outside. She didn't care about eating that much. I was like, okay. Now it's just like sort of mean, but Skippy has a zest for life, man. Why would you mess with that? Like, good for that. Good for him.
I mean, you want him to enjoy every moment that he can, as long as he's not suffering, right? Well, would that be your approach?
Yeah.
It's a very difficult thing. I mean, I'm not one that wants to hang on and watch his dog suffer just because, I'm reluctant to have him put to sleep. And look, it's a tragic day when this happens. I guess, I don't know. Would you rather hope that the dog just peacefully passes away in his sleep one day?
It's so weird because that only time I went off to Israel and I was in college and I did birthright, and my brother and my father, I think, took her in to do it. So I don't even know if I could have. I can't even think of it.
I've been there for a couple of these euthanizing.
But then when you find them, I feel like it's the you in Jersey situation.
So it's like,
where do we bury it? Like that's not better either.
No. That sucks.
So I don't know. I don't know.
Believe me, cremation. I think the root of cremation is that you're going to get creamed.
Yeah, exactly.
No matter what it is.
Yeah, they still charge you a lot of money for it.
I mean, you're going to throw this carcass in a fire. I mean, should it really be $1,000? I don't think so. What do you think, Lubie?
Oh, that's the thing. It's still money.
You're at your tragic moment, and some guy's holding you up with a ski mask and a gun.
Exactly.
And a veterinary license. And you're thinking, come on. I mean, give me a break here. You're going to throw this thing in the trash. But anyway, yeah, so he survived that. It got a little confusing for me yesterday, and I was really heartbroken when I wasn't here when he had the second seizure, but I was told about it. And and he made the same, sound like he'd gotten stabbed in the back, apparently. And what was on the ground, there were some cleaning people here with my wife, and they were all sobbing, the cleaning ladies, thinking, "Oh my God, this dog just died." And here he is today. I don't know that he's bouncing around.
Oh, they thought they were like acting like he. Oh no, yeah, no, Skippy.
If you saw him, that's why I was so
I
shaken
know.
up yesterday.
No, it's scary. They don't move. They're shaking. You don't even know. No, my dog did that. She was doing it multiple times a day. Like that's when it got to like really bad. If he's still managing and then he gets up and wants to eat, like
He ate like a champ. Yeah.
okay, like good for him.
It's amazing, man. I made the illusion. I was trying to think of times I've seen guys peel themselves off the deck and come back and either be in fights or win fights in my many, many years of being a huge boxing fan. I think the one that really stands out is that Tyson Fury knockdown when he got knocked down in the 12th round in the first Deontay Wilder fight. And everybody knew that Fury was a better boxer than Deontay Wilder by far. Wilder had a very awkward style.
That was power.
But
His was he would rock you. Like, that was.
He was like Donovan Razor Ruddock when it came to power.
Yeah.
And he did it with like roundhouse punches. So if he connected with one cleanly, which he did with Fury in his fight in the 12th round, that guy went down. I don't know if you get a chance, people, go ahead and look up a clip of that. You would never in a million years have thought that this guy would have got up, dusted himself off, and then he won the rest of the round. You're looking at this going, wait a minute, they're about a minute into it. This guy's out cold. Gets up, I think, at like the count of 8, staggers to his feet. They let the fight continue, and then Tyson Fury dominates the rest of the round. Pretty amazing. Ended up being called a draw. Diego Corrales, Chico Corrales. I don't know if you remember this cat. Probably have to
From
be.
you've talked about him, so I've heard him. I like old school boxing.
Great fighter. Good fighter. Looked kind of angular like Alexis Arguello, our good friend Alexis Arguello, may rest in peace. And Corrales died in a motorcycle accident shortly after this fight, when you would have to say he had become extremely popular as a result of this comeback that he had against Jose Luis Castillo, where he's been knocked down twice in the round, and you would think the referee would be more than justified in stopping it. Peels himself off the mat and comes back and knocks out Castillo in the 10th round. One of the great rounds of boxing all time, as was that 12th round of Wilder and Fury. But Skippy is exhibiting those kind of characteristics, Arturo Gatti-esque, where you're watching a guy just getting the absolute snot beaten out of him, and still comes back with some kind of force. You can only hope, Lubie, to be that resilient, in your pursuit of life.
Honestly.
But the reason I got into this, and we sort of touched on this World Baseball Classic, I have the opinion maybe that you're not a big fan of this thing. That is it one of those crazy formats that we just don't understand? Do we feel like it looks like it means a lot to the players that win? We've seen the fans going crazy, and there are games here in Miami at Lone Shark Park. The semifinals and the finals are going to be here in our hometown, Lubie. So should we not pay more attention to this?
I've in my life looked at it. I like how the crowds get into it. It's just hard for me to get into the actual, like, what is the value? Like, what does it mean? Like, it's not a World Series, not Olympics, and baseball's always been weird in the Olympics. So, like,
well, we saw it with hockey, though.
I got into that. Yeah, that was really cool. So I don't know, like, if America's in it versus DR and it's the 9th inning, will I care? Maybe, but I don't know how well the U.S. has done it. I don't know. I just for
have we ever won as you? How many have there been? We have to look up the history. Probably I should have done some more research on this. Yeah. But I was amazed because I'm looking at the U.S. roster, and my opinion is we invented the effing game. So how could we ever lose?
Yeah.
Now, we know Japan has made great strides. And look, they have some just unbelievable players right at the top of the list of the best in Major League Baseball, as evidenced by the fact that the Nippon Tigers, or whatever they would be, essentially reside in Los Angeles, where the LA Dodgers have the direct pipeline. You would think San Francisco would get more of these. I guess they don't have the juice to hire these players. But when you look at the LA roster and the one that won the World Series last year, how influential were Japanese players in winning that World Series?
Oh, good.
1,000%.
Shohei Ohtani.
Unbelievable. Yeah. I mean, pitchers were great. So I'm looking at this roster, though, and they had a bunch of clips yesterday on ESPN and various sports stations that were showing Aaron Judge, who's the captain of the team, giving a speech to inspire the rest of the squad. And you're looking at the names on the back of the jerseys, and you're thinking, how could this team possibly lose, Lubie?
Mm.
You're looking at, the starting rotation includes not only Tariq Skubal, who's not even the opening starter. They play their first game today in an exhibition in Scottsdale, Arizona, against the San Francisco Giants. Then they have another exhibition, the American team I'm talking about, against the Rockies coming up tomorrow. Both of these games are going to be televised. 3:05 today for the exhibition. I don't know. How hard would they be going in this exhibition? Lubie, what do you think? They don't really tweak it up until they start the actual competition Friday. And the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 U.S. games that are scheduled, well, they're not all U.S. games. And they have a round robin going, so they have to qualify for the knockout round. But if they do get to the quarterfinals, which you'd have to think is a fair assumption, all of those games, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them would be in Houston. And then the semifinals and the finals are here in Miami. And you're looking at, look at this roster. You're going to have an infield of Alex Bregman at third base from the Red Sox. Solid player. Spent most of his career with the Houston Astros. Was a great player there and seems to be a really good guy. A Jewish third baseman who also happens to own some very premier and high-level horses. You have Bryce Harper is going to be at first base. You got Bobby Witt Jr. at shortstop. And then second base is Bryce Terang of the Brewers. Must be a good player. I'm not that familiar with him. Are you? Bryce Terang of the Brewers. Brewers have been good last couple of years. You have to assume that this guy could be the second coming of Bobby Richardson. Great. On the mound, you've got Logan Webb of the Giants. He's going to pitch the first game that comes up today. And you also have the second starter is going to be Skubal, Cy Young Award winner in the American League. Third starter is going to be Paul Skeens, who was a Cy Young Award winner, of course, with the Pittsburgh Pirates and his lights out. And then this guy was left behind, the guy, Nolan, McNeil, the Met pitcher, who he's having some kind of, I think he has a cold or something. Nolan McLean, not McNeil, Nolan McLean, who came up last year and lit it up for the New York Mets, showed tremendous promise as a minor leaguer. So imagine that's your four-man rotation, Lubie. 2 Cy Young Award winners, and then you've got Webb and McLean. Unbelievable. Great pitching staff. Your catcher is Cal Raleigh, backed up by Will Smith. So you have a guy that hit over 60 home runs behind the plate. And your outfielders include this guy tailed off towards the end of last year with the Cubs, Pete Crow Armstrong, Aaron Judge, and either Roman Anthony or Byron Buxton. DH is Kyle Schwarber of 50-plus home run fame. How the F do we lose, Lubie? If this team loses, you would have to say the fix is in, no? Would it be because they just weren't all into it? Anyway, it was enough when I'm looking at this roster, enough to make me think I'm going to get my flags out here and be all USA. And if they're in, do you think we qualify to get credentials for this stuff, having not gone to a Marlin game?
Would have. I think it's late now. I think you probably had to do it like by January or before then.
All right. Might be a lot of fun.
We can reach out to people. We know that's the one thing we do is know people around that organization in different forms, or we used to. I don't know if we.
Would you be willing to schlep down there if that happened?
If we got credentials, yeah.
Yeah,
for sure.
I'd rather have free tickets, but if we had to go the route of
if we got credentials, I would definitely go. Again, when I did the All-Star game, it was near the place where I didn't watch that much baseball, but I knew all the stars. That was a really cool experience. Like before, that was as. Because I cover the finals, I've done other things. Like they just set up a bunch of the great players of the time sitting there at a desk, and you can just go and ask them questions. And there was a ton of them that no one even went to, so you could just go and have a conversation with any of the guys. That was Aaron Judge just got on the scene. Aaron Judge is walking around, that was a lot of fun. Like baseball is actually cool about that, where they let like the media get real close to the players.
It was always the best thing about it.
And the players are really comfortable with the media and Like you could ask real questions and they were giving real answers. Like I really enjoyed that. Like I stayed for the entire session when they did that, and I was like a little kid. Like that was a really good time. That was a lot of fun. So I would, yeah, if we could get credentials, I would definitely go because baseball is really cool about that. Like, and the Marlins are trying to get people into their, stadium and caring about their club.
Will the Marlins actually benefit from? I mean, it's always shocking when the last time they had games here and the stands were packed, Lubie, and not only that, but it was fantastic. It was like you were going to a festival. With the, I always love when a guy brings a tuba to a ball game and he's sitting in the, upper deck somewhere.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And he's part of a big brass band that comes along to cheer on Venezuela. That's always good stuff. It's not quite like the fat kid out in left field at Shea Stadium back when I was selling souvenirs, and it'd be a cold April day on a Tuesday afternoon when they played day games more often. And there was that one guy out there in left field, big fat kid, and he was with the vuvuzela. Ooh. Ooh. You're thinking, what am I on, the Andrea F. and Gale? I mean, what the hell am I? Lost at sea somewhere? It had that kind of sound to it. So very, very festive. Would be fun to be a part of, I'm thinking. But there was no carryover, was there? Because then you would get the Marlins season underway, and after getting 3/4 of the stadium full on opening day, the next day there would be 3,426 people there.
Yep.
How low will the Marlin attendance be this year? We should have an over-under on that.
I don't know. Look, they showed life last year, and they did nothing in the offseason, but I wouldn't put it past them to continue growth. I mean, the skipper did a decent job, and as much as we gave Benedict a lot of crap, the moves he made actually worked. So maybe, again, I don't like what he did in the offseason, but maybe he proved me wrong because he's been proving me wrong over the last.
By the way, Brian's right. Bregman went to the Cubs.
Yeah, it was a big deal.
In the offseason, yeah. But I just remember him last year being with the Red Sox, and he was a solid player. I guess he was hurt part of the year and came back and did pretty well. But he was one of those guys that provided leadership. He's a solid guy, solid guy. All right, so that's happening. This is springtime, and it's all going on. You do have spring training going on, although I haven't really zeroed in too much on that. I do find it interesting the difference in attention that's being paid to Major League Baseball by the media. Because the first, I would say every day now, the first 6 pages of the New York Post, the tabloid out of New York that I get every day, are baseball stories. That's the number one thing. Even with the Knicks in contention, a lot of New York media seems to feel that they're going to win the NBA championship. I am not among those. I don't see that. Do you?
Not versus the West. I mean, look, they
not even versus the East.
They're in a position in the East, so I can't. And they beat the Celtics last year with Tatum, so it's not like they couldn't do it again. I just don't. I mean, when it comes to, I think the Pistons would beat them in a series now. So how do they win the championship? And I think any of the 4 or 5 teams in the West. I know they play the Spurs good in the regular season, well in the regular season. I think the Spurs would beat them. The Nuggets would beat them. I think the Thunder would beat them. I think the T-Wolves could beat them in a series, to be brutally honest, because I like Edwards versus a Brunson. Like, there's 4 or 5 teams in the West that I think would take care of them. So, yeah, no. I mean, look, they've been competitive for 2 or 3 years in a row now. So the media is allowed to run with it. I mean, the way they match up, I don't.
Who can really win it? I mean,
the Rockets, I guess. That's another team I think that would beat them.
I would throw the Rockets out of the equation. I don't think they win the championship. Do you? Rockets.
I don't know. They're just inconsistent.
I'm thinking it's one of 3 teams: OKC, San Antonio, maybe Denver. Naturally, OKC. I mean, come on, DeForest, a brilliant deduction there. OKC to win the championship. They won it last year, but they won it by the skin in their teeth.
And it's been a struggle this year. SJ's missed a lot of time. He still is out now. He's supposed to be coming back, but he still's out. Williams was out for a while. Holmgren's had his stuff, and they've still found a way to be a top 2 seed in the West, top 3 team in the NBA, but that stuff can catch up with you. So I would put it's one of those 3 teams. The Rockets are weird to me just because I like their makeup, and I'm curious if Durant can shake off being the sensitive little kid. Like, if he can grow up and like really be the leader guy, because they have talent. Talent's not their issue. Depth's not their issue. They can shoot the 3. They can play good offense. They can play good defense. They're young, and like not having Van Vliet. If you could have Van Vliet with Durant, with the young, they would be really scary. The problem, you haven't had Van Vliet the entire year. and was supposed to be
Is
a
he
veteran.
coming back now?
I don't know. I don't know when he's coming. I haven't heard anything about. He's another one that they just
I don't know
showed.
why I thought he was out for the year.
Yeah, he may be out. That's what I'm saying. You don't have him. So Durant really needs to be that veteran presence, and Durant's weird. Like, again, Durant put up numbers in that Heat game, but he goes away a lot. Like, that guy has to be there. So I put the Rockets there just because I like their talent and I like the way that they match up against the other teams.
Did they help themselves or hurt themselves, Lubie, with the Garland for Harden trade?
I don't know. No, that was the Clippers. The Clippers had.
Oh, Clippers got Garland. Yeah, right.
Yeah,
okay.
Clippers are horrendous.
Yeah.
I mean, Clippers are okay.
I don't know why I thought he went to Houston.
I think because he was great. His best years were in Houston. Yeah, I would put those 3 teams and then Rockets right under them. And then I would put the Pistons around where the Rockets are. Like the Pistons, Rockets, I would put there. And then I would put the Knicks and the Celtics under them. Like in that third
Well, I've got a lot of guys on the wrong teams today.
Oh, I mean, the NBA is tough. I only know it because if Harden wasn't playing,
I don't know why I'm thinking of.
He wasn't playing well for the Clippers.
I was thinking Houston, yeah.
If he wasn't playing well for the Clippers and the Cavs, I wouldn't know he was in the league until Scoop that day, was it 2-3 weeks ago when we had him on, was like, yeah, he's played well. They've won 17 out of 21. I'm like, who? Harden? I'm like, he's in the league. Like, I didn't know he was still in the league, but now because of that, then subsequently being traded, then playing really well with the Cavs and now being hurt, I'm well versed on Harden. But yes, I would have totally botched it if that was 3 weeks ago.
All right. Top 5 teams in the West. OKC, number 1. San Antonio, 2. I think San Antonio was afflicted with the curse of Kendrick Perkins because as soon as he predicted that they were going to win the championship, which was not an exclusive opinion of Perkins. It's not like he came up and dug this out of the sky. It's become a very popular opinion, one of which I would be a subscriber to. I mean, I can see them winning the championship. I don't know that I would guarantee it because Perkins came on and they keep playing his clip now of him saying, how did this happen where Kendrick Perkins became the expert on basketball when
he's horrendous?
Seems like he's way off on just about everything. He said something yesterday that I looked at and I'm going, is this just clickbait type of stuff, Lubie? That people just, I mean, we know people make outrageous statements just to get attention. And I would be totally offended by this. And if I was the commissioner of the NBA and this took place, and we know that it happens, but he was saying that the Bucks should sit. Giannis Antetokounmpo came back last night. He played about 26 minutes. I think
the Bucks want to.
Oh, right. They want to lose. And this was a directive coming straight from the NBA office from Adam Silver, where he's levying fairly, I don't know if it's a substantial fine when you have a league where scrubs are making $20 million a year. Do you really hurt a team by fining them $500,000, Lubie? I mean, you would have to get to the point where you were saying, hey, guess what? You're not going to have a first-round pick if we suspect that you are deliberately tanking by resting players. And so Perkins was saying, look, from a practical standpoint, does it make sense if they're going to lose Giannis? Now, what is his status? If they don't trade him before the end of the year or in the offseason, when does he become a free agent, Giannis Antetokounmpo?
He has 1 more year.
Oh, 1 more year. Okay.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's just you would want like a year of Giannis to make sure that he will re-sign with you. He so far the only team he said he would re-sign with and the Knicks, but the Knicks don't have enough. That's why the Bucks want to keep him. The Bucks have never wanted to let him go, and he doesn't want to be the bad guy.
He wants to stay there too.
He doesn't want to be the bad guy. I mean, he can't want to stay there. They're never going to win ever again. They don't have anything there. No one wants what they have, and they're not a place anyone wants to go to. So this is what they're going to be. He's good enough for a couple more years to get them as a top 6 seed, I guess, if he's healthy for the entire year. But they're not going to win anything. Like the Pistons, the Magic, the Celtics, the Knicks will be better than the Bucks, and the Heat aren't stupid and figure out how to work this young core. The Heat will be better than the Bucks. Like. They're not, and the Hawks now, Kuminga's figuring it out. Maybe the Hawks figure it out. Like the Bucks aren't going to be good. He just doesn't want to be a bad guy. Like he has a title. He's not like in Dirk's shoes where Dirk stayed actually, even though he didn't have a title. Like Giannis has a title. A guy like him, no one expects him to win 3 or 4. He's not LeBron. He's not even Durant. So like,
and if they ever call traveling.
Yeah, exactly.
Or any offensive fouls on this guy, my God, he barrels over people. With 17 different variations of the Euro step. Now, I enjoy his play, and I love the way he competes, but if you just let a guy unabashedly and without any kind of impunity whatsoever bowl through the paint like that from the top of the key without dribbling a basketball, and he has that kind of strength and talent on top of that, How could he ever be bad? They sit 3.5 out of the play-in game or play-in spot right now. So Perkins was saying, okay, maybe you play him a couple of more games and then you just take him out of the lineup. That there's no point playing a guy. Now, if I'm an NBA fan and I know that Giannis Antetokounmpo is healthy and he's not going to play the last 18 or 20 games of the season, I'm appalled. I don't know about you, but what a total that is.
I mean, you can't do it.
How can you recommend that? I mean, I still subscribe to this. I know it's stupid and nobody believes it, but I'm a subscriber to the idea that if you're only capable of winning one game out of the 82, win that game. If you're going to go 1-81, go out there and at least win that game. Try to win every single time that you line up. No matter, is that not somewhat of an obligation as a franchise when you take people's money?
It's a weird spot because the Bucks aren't going to do anything, and they're trying to do everything they can to keep him. And this draft, if you can get a top 5 pick, you can get the perfect guy to complement Giannis. So I get the idea. The problem is, if he's healthy,
you literally tell people,
exactly, hey, if he's healthy, you
flying one.
If he's healthy, you can't do it. It's just something you can't. If he's healthy, you cannot do that. Like, it's just, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what you do, but you can't. If he's healthy, you can't do it.
How can you recommend that? Is any
gotta play if he's healthy.
I just look. I can't. I understand, especially when there's this so-called generational player like a Wembanyama, and he stands out, and you're not going to find another guy like that for several years. Okay, you want to put yourself in a position to get that guy. With the lottery, it doesn't guarantee that you're going to do it if you're the worst team in the league. But if you're one of the worst 3 or 4 teams in the league, you got a pretty good chance of being in that spot. It's a terrible system. It's tainted with the idea that you're rewarding futility and failure. And if they really wanted to address it, they would make it more punitive to lose like that. But if I'm a paying customer and you have a chance to look. The only reason to go see the Milwaukee Bucks this year would be what? To see Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Yeah.
You're not going there to see any of their other scrubs off the bench, and especially not to see some backup center. So if that guy's sitting there in street clothes when he's perfectly capable of playing, that should be a cause for litigation, my friend. Fan movements never work, but.
No. I mean,
and fans never will stop being subjected to this and being the victims of this, because as much as fans always say, "Well, I'll never go to another game again," you're right there. Who are these people that go then and actually sustain this kind of fraud, which is that you bought season tickets, and let's say there's 20 games left, and 10 of them are at home. You know that you're not going to see a healthy Giannis Antetokounmpo in the lineup. It's crazy.
Pretty much.
Shouldn't you get like a quarter of your season ticket money back? No?
I mean, there should be. I don't like doing reparations. There should be refunds. There should be a lot. Look, to me, I as a fan of my team want what's best for the future. Getting a super talent to help you to try and keep Giannis and build for the future when you're going to be bad this year anyways makes sense. But then why would I go to, like you're saying, why would I go to games and watch them then? Like, what's the point of watching the games?
Yeah, I mean, your money, you just lit it up, smoke.
Like, I'm not going to go to games.
How the team could, or any, I mean, imagine being in a ticket office next year and saying, well, you know what, it's going to get a lot better. It's got to be one of the worst jobs, as we said many, many times. The worst job in all of sports, besides being a teaser horse at a stud farm, is being a scalper at a Marlin game.
Yeah.
For a while, that was true of the Panthers as well, who also sit in a very precarious position, Lubie. If you look at the standings, my God, is this really going to happen? Because I would think this, that if Barkov comes back, there's that big word at the top of the sports eye chart, IF, big letters like the big E. Playoff tested, certainly. Would they not be a tough out for anybody in a series? And we've seen this in the NHL, especially where the 8th seed knocks off the 1st seed.
Oh, no. If the Panthers make the playoffs because they're healthy, they're a top 3 team in is it the East still? They're still a top 3 team in the conference. Again, The reason they're not there now is because they've been missing their 2 best players and their 3rd best player a lot of the year. So like
do they have time? What do you think?
No, that's a problem. There's
22 games left, and they are 8 points out of the wild card.
They just lost that game. They really can't lose any games. They're not going to go undefeated, obviously, but they can't have 6 or 7 losses. Like over that stretch, it's really a 1-2 loss thing to really get into it. They're behind. You said it the other day. They're behind a bunch of teams.
They have to eclipse 5 teams to get to that.
They're all playing solid hockey. They're not struggling. It sucks because I thought for sure they'd make the playoffs and then we'd see what they'd be. I thought Kachuk would come back a little bit earlier. I thought, I didn't realize Marchand would be in and out with injuries, and he's had his issues. Once that happened, it's like, okay, it will be tough to make them. And then all these other teams are playing really well. That was the other thing is maybe they would struggle. No, they played real well. So I don't know. I really don't know. I was really sure that they'd make the playoffs. Now I have no idea.
All right.
I don't know.
Continuing that springtime theme, we also have the Sunshine Double coming up in tennis. Indian Wells out in Palm Springs, California gets underway today, and it's a great tournament. Prestigious tournament. Naomi Osaka made a name for herself when she won that. That was her first big tournament win. And then, of course, following Indian Wells, guess what, Lubie? They come here for the Miami Open. So, although I don't have the same affinity, I know it's a great tournament. It's the same tournament, and they've done a nice job. I mean, I'd rather have it here than not. But for some reason, Lubie, I don't know. Remember how much fun we had going down there to Key Biscayne? I don't even know if we watched many matches. So we were having fun just watching people practice. It was great.
We watched a few. We saw Tiafoe, we saw Serena, and we saw Venus. Remember, we watched.
My big recollection is
not Tiafoe. What was his name? The French guy, the big French
guy.
Willie
Sanga. The guy that looks like Muhammad Ali.
Yeah.
Who's now retired. But so that's happening. I mean, a lot of stuff. And of course, you have the Florida swing in golf has really been diminished, though, has it not, with the absence of the Doral Open? That was always an extremely prestigious tournament and a lot of fun to be around. And then it was usually the subsequent week to Doral that you'd go to the Honda Classic, and that didn't seem to have the same level of appeal. But nonetheless, it was still a pro golf tournament. And now it's the only one down here, known as the Cognizant Classic, and it was literally the leaderboard for the most part was question mark and mysterious. And the most interesting aspect of it, this guy Echeverria, who won the tournament, certainly deserving, but what was the complete collapse at the Bear Trap, those 3 holes by Shane Lowry, who, I don't know, do you find yourself rooting for Shane Lowry? I do. I think he's kind of an interesting personality, and he doesn't seem to be one of those European dickheads, but he... really, I mean, plunking 2 in the water. I wish I could have remembered what the actual numbers were, but I remember as you had a 3-shot lead, I believe at after 14 holes, still leading by 3 shots. He goes to the Bear Trap with a 3-shot lead. The only thing that can kill him is dunking not 1 but 2 balls in the water, and he ends up doing just that. So this should be a new betting strategy, shouldn't it? Where you go ahead and bet against the impossible. NBA, certainly, a team gets down 20 points, send it in on the team that's down 20. Golf, I mean, it was hard to envision that guy, the way he was playing at that time, seemed in complete command of his game, putting not 1, but 2 in the water and ending up with a pair of double bogeys in back-to-back holes. I think it was back-to-back holes. There's 3 holes comprised of the Bear Trap there. But you do have the Bay Hill thing coming up. For some reason, I always thought that was in Tampa, but it's in Orlando, right? A Bay Hill Classic, Arnie Palmer thing.
Yeah.
Is that in Orlando?
Yes. It's not Tampa. It's Orlando area because it was Woods would always kick ass in it. And
where does the word bay fit in, though? I mean, it doesn't, right? There's no bay in Orlando.
No. It fits
Rummy Lakes with alligators.
I don't know what the hell he was thinking. Maybe they made a bay.
And then, of course, the one everybody loves, the TPC Sawgrass in Jacksonville, is always a lot of fun because of that one signature hole. Does anybody know anything about any of the other holes on that course, Lubie, except 17, the water hole? Nothing, right?
No.
I couldn't describe any of the other. That is the signature hole. I mean, it's up there with any hole that you would see in golf, is it not? In terms of recognition by people, everybody knows. I mean, when a guy's standing at the tee at that hole. So, but that's all going on. I mean, it's the fresh minted spring air that's out there. Like I said, I can't sing, and you can bust a couple of moves as a dancer, but I am the worst dancer that you've ever seen. Totally inhibited on the dance.
Like dancing, can't sing.
But I still keep coming back to this time of the year, and now enhanced by my renewed and revised interest in the World Baseball Classic based on the roster of the American team.
There you go.
If ever I could leave you, how could it be in springtime? I'm Robert Goulet. I'm all in. Robert Goulet on this thing. All right, we're going to come back with much more to discuss. You got college baskets. I mean, what are we missing here, Lubie? Everything in the world is going on. So, very good time to be a sports fan. Basketball, I don't know. Let's see. Do you see any? We'll discuss this when we come back. Is there any team outside of, say, the top 5 that you see ending up winning the NCAA championship?
Where are they ranking Florida? Because
Florida's no.
Now they put them inside the 5 because Florida was like 7 or 8, and
They're
Florida
5.
was playing. Yeah,
Latest rankings: Duke, Michigan, UConn, and Florida.
Yeah, those are all the teams playing great. UConn's played great all year. Michigan played great most of the year. I guess had struggles in the sense that they lost to Duke.
Does it have to be one of those 5? That's
no, it doesn't. The tournament can create interesting stories, but usually at the top, look last year, Duke, Houston were great all year. Florida, had issues, but by the tournament was playing really good basketball. Like, it's usually the teams playing really good that win it all. Now, to get to the Final Four, we've seen VCU and other teams get there, but the actual team that wins it is usually one of the teams that may not be the number 1 seed or a number 1 seed, but it's usually a team that's around there. Like, that's just what the
Miami now ranked, by the way, the University of Miami, not Miami.
They've been good all year. I mean, they've been good all year. Luke has done a really good job.
Number 22 in the country. Yeah, nice job replacing Jim Larinaga. All right, back with more in a moment. Now that. The time. 8:48.
Joe Bees. The bees collect the pollen, bring it to Joe, he packages it, and he gets it to you. It's simple, 100% natural, and it's good for you.
There's only one place to get Joe Bees, and that's from me. Joe B.
If you want to look and feel good, call 877-300-5632.
Hey folks, Tony Segreto here. Let me ask you a question. What do you look for when you go out to eat? Good food, obviously, friendly atmosphere, not too loud, but good energy, reasonable prices, and a place where you feel comfortable. All those ingredients, no pun meant there, are hard to find unless you're talking about the Texas Roadhouse. You see, they encompass all of those attributes. Really, really good food, amazing atmosphere, good for a family, good for a date, or just a night out for yourself, and prices that will make you extremely happy. Their ribs, unmatched. Steaks, hand-cut every day. Everything, and I mean everything, is made on site, including their incredible bread. It's the one day, folks, that you can forget about low-carb diets. Trust me when I tell you, Texas Roadhouse, your restaurant, your destination when you say, where should we go and eat tonight?
From the newly renovated sports bar to the beautiful bayside views captured at the Tiki Bar, Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill has it all. Located at mile marker 104, the Big Chill also offers waterfront dining while experiencing breathtaking sunset views of the Florida Keys. It's simply the hottest spot in the Keys to cool off. That's Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill at mile marker 104 in Key Largo. For more information, call today at 305-453-9066.
Recently realized that is the question. Whether 'tis nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to take arms against a sea of troubles, and by opposing end them, to die, to sleep, no more, and by asleep, to say we end the heartache and 1,000 natural shocks.
What could that have been about, except
gambling?
To hedge or not to hedge?
The modern day odd couple, Defo and Lubie, are on now. It is, of course, the Defo Show.
All right, welcome to the show. Good to be with you guys today. A lot of stuff going on, as we said. The top 5, outside the top 5, you got Iowa State, Houston, Michigan State. I don't know why I don't see any of those teams winning it.
Houston and Michigan State have been good all year, and they've competed. The problem with Houston is this offense. And what level of physicality do they let them get away with? Like, as Ken's talked about, like, they play football basketball. They play 1980s basketball. And when they're allowed to get away with it, they're as good as anyone in the country. But they're not. Sometimes if they want to crack down on them, they can call a foul on every goddamn play. So Houston's really tough. And then they're shooting, they 3-point heavy. So they live and die by the 3, which we saw with the Celtics last year. Like, if you're hitting it, that's great. If you're not, it can bury you. So, like, that's the problem with Houston. And
that's
Michigan
a tough
State
formula to ride all the way.
It is. Well, you saw them get to what was it, the 4s? Did they get to the 4s or the 8s?
They were in the Final Four last year, weren't they?
Yeah, got to the 4s. And because they beat Duke, they beat Duke in the 8s, and Duke should have won, but they beat Duke in the 8s, and then what was it? Was it Florida? And they just
I'm thinking a Gators repeat.
It's Gator. Look, Duke and Florida are playing the best basketball in the country. I just don't forget Michigan, who's been really good all year. So, and UConn also has been really good all year. Like those are the four.
Good. Michigan, I thought a couple of weeks ago it was Michigan, but hard to envision some of these other teams. Nebraska, I don't know. Do you see that? Texas Tech, Illinois just got crushed. Gonzaga is always the sleeper team, but they never do it.
They played good basketball, but I don't know.
All right, so that's right around the corner.
One of those 4 or 5 teams, it feels like you want to throw Arizona in because they've been really good all year. Okay, fine. Like that.
They looked great the other night. I was just, what was that, last night? Zona was playing. They crushed Iowa State, didn't they?
Yes, they just pounded Iowa State. Yeah.
Okay. Looked pretty impressive to me.
No, they're really good, and the Gators are really good. Gators just beat a top 25 Arkansas team who had been playing really well. They beat the living crap out of them. So Duke's doing the same. Duke played a really good team the other day and beat the living crap out of them. So yeah, I mean those 5 teams. Again, Michigan lost to Duke. And it was a tough, hard-fought game. So like that's what you get in the tournament. So I mean, again, I would put Michigan right there. It's those 5 teams.
Okay. Nobody else. So, well, I mean, look, it's always possible.
Again, if Houston gets a friendly whistle, you can see them in the Final Four. And if you're in the Final Four, it's wide open. I don't know if they're going to get that back-to-back years. And the Gators, the repeat thing's tough. I mean, they've done it. The last time they won a title was repeating. So I wouldn't put it past them. Golden's done a really good job. It's just really hard. It's hard to get that, especially Duke still has that taste in their mouth from last year. And this group's playing just as well as that group, if not better than that group, as weird as that is, considering 2 of those guys are 2 of the better players in the NBA right now. But like Duke, and it feels like Duke, UConn, Arizona, and Michigan. Like Florida, the repeat thing's hard. Like it's just really difficult. And I know that, again, they did it a few years ago, but it hadn't been done for years before that, and it hasn't been done since. So that's the problem for Florida to me, is the repeat thing. Like that's the kind of team that in the second round stumbles because everything's on them. I don't know. The repeat thing's really hard.
All right. WNBA, they're still working on their collective bargaining agreement. What are the odds they go on strike? Or have some kind of lockdown?
They want to done.
Wouldn't that be devastating? You think? Is the WNBA still just Caitlin Clark and everybody else? And what's going on with her? Where is she?
I was going to say, I don't even hear her. I mean, I hear more about Beckers than I do Caitlin Clark. I don't know. I feel for them because the theories that they espouse make sense, but they're not looking at it to me from reality. Like the dollars aren't there compared to the NBA. It's like women's and men's soccer. Yes, the American women's have much more success than American men's. They still have way less eyeballs. Like this men's soccer brings in way more money and eyeballs than women's soccer. Same thing. Men's NBA basketball, which is redundant. Men's NBA brings in a lot more money than the women's NBA. It just is what it is. And again, the overall product of the WNBA is sort of what sells WNBA. Caitlin Clark sort of changed that, but otherwise it wasn't the stars. It was just the league overall. The NBA, the players made it clear it's us, and they've done really good at working their way to getting their money. I don't know. Whenever they do this stuff, I feel for them. The women should be paid more. In life, yes, if you do the exact same job, a woman shouldn't be making 35 cents or 60 cents on the dollar of a man. You're doing the exact same job. You bring in a lot of times you bring in more money than men. So there is an equal comparison, and it's asinine and totally sexist and misogynistic that there's any wage gap in the business world. In sports, I don't think those words should be used. I think it's literally just reality and finances. Like the men are making more.
Wasn't the NBA subsidizing the WNBA for years?
To this day, I know they're doing better, and I know you see the commercials and you'll see NBA players there, and they're doing better, but it still isn't comparable. Like I don't know, man. And if you do a strike, who's going to miss you?
Exactly. I don't know when the season actually begins. Do you? I guess it's coming up.
I feel for them because I am open-minded and I do root on women's sports. I'm also practical. I don't
always happy to see the advances that are taking place.
Yeah. I just don't see, like, they want the revenue sharing. They want this, they want that. I don't know what you deserve. I'm not trying to be mean, but I don't know what you deserve. I don't. Like I to compare themselves to the NBA, I think is moronic, to be brutally honest. I don't see the comp even a little. He'll keep trying to tell me it's a different game. Okay. So, but when it's money, but it's not that different. Yeah, it's a different game. Believe me. If you watch it too, it's a very different game, which is fine. Okay, then you're going to get paid differently. Like, it's not comparable.
It's a shame this sport is sort of fallen out of the spotlight. You really don't hear a lot about track stars, do you? Maybe around the Summer Olympic Games, we start to get wind of what's going on in track and field. I happened to stumble upon, I guess it was the SEC network. I'm flipping channels trying to figure out what I'm going to watch last night. So a weird smattering of offerings from the sporting world. And, of course, tracking the insanity that's going on in the world on CNN. And, well, shows you where my leanings are, MS Now. I find myself, as soon as I accidentally land on Fox News, I can't get to the remote fast enough to click this stuff off.
Oh,
but
God, I can't now.
Anyway, so I stumbled upon the SEC Track and Field Championships.
Okay.
And I only caught parts of 2 events. I was a huge fan because I covered a lot of these races in Los Angeles when track and field was extremely popular. And there was an illustrious field of milers around at the time. I've mentioned this a few times over the years. And I have very fond memories of going to especially indoor track meets that featured the chairman of the boards, the great Eamon Coughlin from Ireland. And he was battling, you had John Walker out of New Zealand. And the reason that I was always assigned to cover these events, I was working at we called it the Ontario Daily Distort. Of course, the motto being yesterday's news tomorrow. Came out in the afternoon, believe it or not. Not even a morning paper, afternoon newspaper, if you can imagine. Like, who's reading a paper in the afternoon? I don't. I mean, once I go through my New York Post in the morning, that thing is filed in the garbage can.
Yeah, it's useless.
Unless I want to go back and track one of these handicappers and see how they fared, which today they have a little item here by Doug Kazarian, who's pretty good. This guy, Doug Kazarian, used to be ESPN, and he's one of the few guys, he posts his record all the time. He's got accountability. He's 102 and 83. In the post handicapping pieces that he's put together. And he's actually touting, and this is a remarkable turnaround for a guy that I don't really have any great affinity for, Doug Gottlieb and his Wisconsin Green Bay basketball team, which was 4-28 last year. And he is touting them to win I guess it's their first tournament game, conference tournament. Is that going on already? As they're taking on a team that they beat by 17 and 18 in a regular season, and they're only having to lay about 6 points in this game. Does that make any sense to you? Seems like a gift, doesn't it? That's usually when you end up getting buried. But,
yeah.
He's saying that this guy's a candidate for Coach of the Year in the league for going 12 and 8 in the league.
Gottlieb?
Doug Gottlieb, yeah.
Well, they had 0 wins last year, or 1.
4 wins. They won 4 games last year.
Oh, so there you go.
But he gave up his radio show. Was that enough of a distraction? And actually, your man, Stu Gatz, ended up taking that spot. And I'd have to say, it's one of those deals where it's always good to follow somebody into a job that was horrible and detested. Gottlieb was so lame that Stu Gatz can't do anything but shine. It wouldn't matter what he did. He's going to be the proverbial breath of fresh air, as a lot of media columnists used to write about people, which, I don't know. I guess it's a compliment, Lubie, but is it really saying anything?
It's a compliment because they were bad, but it's not necessarily saying I'm good.
He had a good line in this about Gottlieb taking over and giving up his radio show. He says, "This is not a case of Skip Bayless grabbing a clipboard and a whistle." Saying that the guy actually had some solid basketball credentials before he got this coaching job. But that was his town, Wisconsin Green Bay. I don't see them on the odds board here. So I'm assuming that this game is tonight. But who are they playing? Miami of Ohio's captured the mid-major attention with its undefeated.
That was weird. Again, I don't care what your conference is. If you're undefeated, you should be it's a field of 68. Like they're talking about, well, they still have to earn their spot. It's like they're 29-0 guys. Like they're allowed to be in the tournament.
Oh, they have to win the tournament. I mean, they have to win this conference tournament.
Again, because you don't want another it's a schmank conference. So if that team gets in, are you really getting 2 teams in? If they're 29 or 30 or 31-0, yes, they're getting into that. That's just dumb. You can't have a team that's 31-1 not in the tournament. It's still playing college basketball. Like, come on.
Pretty remarkable turnaround, though. Horizon League, 12-8 during conference play. And Kazarian, who's got an opinion I respect, seems to really dig deeply into this stuff from well below the surface in trying to come up with his handicapping information. Says they have the number 5 seed for the postseason tournament, and they're going to meet Purdue Fort Wayne on I guess this is tonight, right? It says on Tuesday, or is that next? It can't be next week. He wouldn't be handicapping a game next week. They're already doing conference tournaments, Lubie?
I think they do, as you call them, the weenie ones.
The weenie
this
conferences
week,
are in action?
and then I think the major ones start at the end of next week, maybe.
Okay.
Because
the playing games, I think, are March 17th.
Yeah, that's the thing. So I think they're still, because I was tracking FSU because they'd actually played much better basketball, and I think they still have games left.
I have to give him credit, though. I mean, as much as I hated his show, or just thought it was like, really, I talk about a guy that was in a job that you're asking yourself, how the hell does this guy keep his job? Well, it was about as flat a radio show as I've ever listened to, even considering it was a network show. But look, a 4-28 season, you turn it around and end up 12-8 in the conference. Not bad, right? Got to give him a little credit. Doug Gottlieb, who was recently suspended for a game for some vile dialogue that he or diatribe that he went on after getting hosed by officials in one of Wisconsin Green Bay's, the Phoenix losses. So maybe not the most well-liked guy in the universe, in spite of his popularity, by getting the recognition by being on national radio for. I think he had a job for like 20 years.
He had a show for a very long time. I don't know if ever it popped up. He's one I changed very quickly because I didn't really agree with much of his opinions. But he had a show for a very long time.
Very long time, but now distinguishing himself as a competent basketball coach on the Division I level. All right, we have to get out of here. We were all over the board today, but nonetheless, that just illustrates how much fun it is.
Yes,
to be a sports fan when it's springtime. So we're going to bail out. Lubie, you have a great day, and everybody else. I hope you guys enjoy the day. Looks like it's going to be another nice one here in South Florida, where we reside. And from Mike Lubie Lubitz, young Luca Panici Lubitz, who was very well behaved today. My God, is he out?
Perfectly. This is the movie. It's feeding him right before, during, and then he passes out.
It's kind of like me, right? I have dinner and I pass out in front of the
Pretty
TV.
much. That's my son. Yes.
All right. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Thanks so much for being with us. I'm Jeff DeForest. See you next time as we leave. You know that.
The time.
Panthers out of the playoffs? I don't know. Really. I feel like they're going to sneak in there. It's 9:04.
Let's go to eat a damn snack.